Hello everyone. This module we are going to discuss about the extraction of ion association complexes, and this session will be linked to the previous sessions, that is in order to understand the principles of solvent extractions and what are the solute systems we can subject for extraction process, and in which we have discussed in our previous modules, in module 1 and module 2, about the extraction of essentially covalent neutral molecules and extraction of uncharged metal chelates. In contrast to those two category of analytes, or those two classes of analyte molecules or analytical systems, we have found several equilibrium principles which are involved in the extraction of such molecules. So this is a typical class of analytical species or analytical systems in which by fulfilling the requirement which is necessary for the extraction of solutes, that is, whatever the solute you wanted to extract, that should be chargeless. Even if it is chargeless, that has to be made electrically neutral by treating that solute with its counter reagent, which is having opposite charge. So two differently charged species will combine together to form an electrically neutral species, and this electrically neutral species will be having better extractability into the organic solvent. So this we will discuss in this particular module. So here we should know about ion association complexes. What is the meaning of ion association complex? And what are the examples we will come across? Some examples we have to give for the extraction of ion association complexes. How generally the ion association complexes are classified, and several examples which are involved in the extraction of ion association complexes. Let us discuss. So ion association complexes or ion pair complexes, we know as one of the requirements, whatever the solute you are going to extract, that should be electrically neutral. So ion association complexes are electrically neutral complexes or electrically neutral species. These are the products which are formed by the association of two differently charged species. So they are positively and negatively charged species. So these electrically neutral species or electrically neutral complexes might have been obtained by the aggregation of two differently charged species. Therefore, they are called as ionic aggregates. And these ion association complexes will be insoluble in aqueous phase because the absence of the charge, the absence of the electric charge over these complexes will make the aqueous solubility of these species impossible. Therefore, their organic solubility will be enhanced. So they will be quite easily soluble when you extract them into the organic solvent. So after forming the ion association complex in the aqueous layer, when you create the interface between aqueous and organic phase, and you shake the separating funnel, the ion association complexes will be easily transferred to the organic layer. That's what the ion association complexes will be aqueous soluble, and they are quite easily organic soluble. Once these complexes are formed, many ion association complexes will be highly stable. So they do not undergo dissociation or they do not undergo ionization to get separated into positively and negatively charged species. Once the ion association complexes, which are electrically neutral complexes, once they are extracted into the organic layer, they will be highly stable. Due to charge separation, positively and negatively charged species are not going to be formed. Therefore, they are highly stable. And some of the ion association complexes will be highly colored. Not all, some exclusive complexes will be highly colored. Even the reagents may be colorless, or the reagents may be different in color. The positively charged and negatively charged species having reagents will be in different colors or colorless. The product will be colored. The product will be colored. Therefore, we can utilize these ion association complexes not only for the extraction process, but also when we wanted to determine the quantity or the concentration of any analyte present in the sample, we can utilize photometric methods or spectrophotometric methods, and even sometimes Fluorescence spectrophotometric method also we can employ to determine the concentration of these ion association complexes. So let us understand something about the formation of ion association complexes by these simple examples. So you can see here, I have presented a very first example, PH4AS plus Cl minus. Here arsenic is present at the center. It is a metal. 4 phenyl groups have been attached to arsenic, and chloride is going to be the counter ion. So this is named as tetraphenyl arsonium chloride. Tetraphenyl arsonium chloride. And this will be present in the aqueous medium. And we have to utilize this in order to extract permanganate. You know, potassium permanganate, it is a purple colored species. In trace quantity of permanganate, we can determine what is the amount of manganese present, and in turn, what is the amount of permanganate present. A very simple procedure will utilize the role of tetraphenyl arsonium chloride or tetraphenyl arsonium ion as a cation, because permanganate is a anion. Permanganate MnO4 minus is a anion, and tetraphenyl arsonium cation will be a reagent. So you take permanganate, which is present in whichever the concentration, you transfer the aqueous solution of permanganate into the separating funnel, and you take tetraphenyl arsonium ion. You add a typical organic solvent, because this is going to be the most electronegative species permanganate is overall. So you take any polar solvent you take, and you extract tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate is going to be the ion association complex where chloride will be released out. The ion association complex will be tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate. Tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate will be the ion association complex. So tetraphenyl arsonium chloride will be the reagent, permanganate will be the analyte. This is positively charged species and this is negatively charged species. The ionic aggregate of tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate will be the species. Here chloride should go out. Chloride will be a counter ion, and that will be reacting with the positively charged species of permanganate. Maybe potassium permanganate means potassium will be the counter ion. So potassium chloride will be the other species will be left over in the aqueous layer. So tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate will be the ion association complex. So this is not in the chelated form. Here, this is in non-chelated form. There is no any ring-like structure here. That's what I have presented this particular example. Let us move on to other type of the example here. You take ferrine. Ferrine is a 1:3 complex of iron 2 and 110 phenanthroline, or it is a 1:3 complex of iron 2 and orthophenanthroline. This is red in color. Ferrine will be red in color. When you treat ferrine in the aqueous layer, and if you wanted that to extract into the organic layer, it is not possible because it is having 2+ charge, it is charged. So we have to convert that into electrically neutral species. How to do this? Very simple. You take perchlorate anion by means of potassium perchlorate or hydrogen perchlorate, that is perchloric acid or potassium perchlorate. So potassium perchlorate or perchloric acid will dissociate to give perchlorate anion. And when you treat this solution containing perchlorate anion with ferrine or 1:3 complex of iron 2 and 110 phenanthroline, this 2+ charge will be neutralized by this 2- charge, 1- from 1 perchlorate anion. And there are 2 perchlorate anions have been involved in the reaction. Therefore, 2- charges will be responsible to neutralize this 2+ charge. So as a result, ferrine perchlorate will be the ion association complex. This is iron 110 phenanthroline perchlorate ion association complex will be obtained. So this can be extracted into any organic solvent, and that organic solvent will be colored. You can measure the intensity of that organic phase in order to determine what is the concentration of iron present there. So this is a chelated system. For the chelated system, the charge neutrality has been made, or charge neutralization has been made by using perchlorate as a reagent. Here, this is going to be the analyte. Suppose we are interested to determine the concentration of iron, let us use this perchlorate NaN as a reagent by converting iron to 1,10-phenanthroline. Very simple. You take any sample containing iron, convert that into iron 2 by suitable oxidizing agents. If iron is present in +3 oxidation state, you reduce it to iron 2. Then you add 1,10-phenanthroline, you will get ferrine or iron to 1,10-phenanthroline complex. Then you add excess of perchlorate or perchloric acid or potassium perchlorate and you extract into any organic solvent, you will get ferrine perchlorate ion association complex or iron 1,10-phenanthroline perchlorate ion association complex you will get. And similarly, some other typical types of ion association complexes are also possible. Here, this is C2H5 twice O is going to be ether. Ether is an oxygenated solvent. When you take any oxygenated solvent and when you treat them with acid, the protonation of that oxygenated solvent will be takes place. So salvation of the acid will be possible and the hydrogen ion from the acid will be coordinating with this ether. So this particular system, the protonation of the solvent is known as oxonium system formation. This is known as oxonium ion. This is known as oxonium ion. Here, water will be the other coordinating species. So when you take aqueous medium of higher concentration of acid and aqueous medium is having an analyte FeCl4 minus, you assume FeCl4 minus is present in the aqueous phase. To take the aqueous phase containing FeCl4 minus, you add excess of hydrochloric acid there or sulfuric acid, even nitric acid can also be added. And if you treat with ether, ether is going to be the solvent you are going to use. First, ether undergoes salvation by the hydronium ion. So this is in the positively charged state, and this is going to be the negatively charged species. So combination of this positively charged and negatively charged species takes place in order to form an ion association complex. So here, the salvation takes place. Salvation of species will be taking place here in order to form an oxonium system, and this oxonium system will be reacting with the anion because oxonium system is positively charged and anion will be negatively charged. So combination of these positively charged and negatively charged species by coordinating along with the water, they will be extracted into the organic layer. So organic layer is the ether here. So these type of complexes are also belonging to ion association complex. This is another typical example which we can see more commonly in practical aspects. And this is any organic compound which is having either primary or secondary or tertiary amine group. So phenylpropanylamine, this is having a tertiary amine group. And when you convert this into protonated amine, that is simply by treating with any acid, nitrogen will be protonated. And this protonated compound, if you treat with octane sulfonic acid and if you extract into chloroform or into dichloromethane, the ion association complex of phenylpropanylamine octane sulfonic acid will be obtained. So this ion association complex will be present in the organic layer. These are some examples for showing ion association complexes. So this is the other example. This one I have already showed the formation of ferrine perchlorate ion association complex, and this is the other example. So diphenyl hydrochloride is a therapeutic compound. Dothiophene hydrochloride is a therapeutic compound, and this is also has got tertiary amine, and it is in hydrochloride form. And the hydrochloride form of this compound will be definitely converting into protonated amine NH plus, and we need a counter reagent. So alizarin redes will be a counter reagent. When you dissolve this in water, the sodium sulfonate group will be dissociated to produce Na plus and SO3 minus group, and this SO3 minus group will be available as a counter group for this NH plus group. So this positively charged species and the negatively charged species will aggregate together to form an electrically neutral species. Therefore, they can be extracted into either chloroform or dichloromethane or dichloroethane, etc. So This is red in color and this is colorless. So combination of these two, you will be getting yellow colored ion association complex. So the extraction of this is very simple here. If we are intended to determine what is the concentration of this, any real sample, if we take, so we will prepare a Lizarin radius solution of any concentration. We have to prepare this in excess in higher concentration when compared to this. So when you treat them in the aqueous layer together, you add some organic solvents such as chloroform or carbon tetrachloride, dichloromethane or dichloroethane. You simply extract in the acidic medium. Aqueous phase should be maintained with acidic medium because this nitrogen should be getting protonated. So protonated amine from this compound will be in the positively charged state, and the sulfonate group will be in the negatively charged state. So electrostatic force of attraction between these two takes place in order to form an electrically neutral species, which is extractable to the organic layer. And therefore, there is not only the formation of ion association complex, but also change in color. So this was red in color. When you mix this with this and you extract into organic phase, you will get yellow colored ion association complex. So you can measure absorbance at 445 nanometer in order to determine what is the concentration of this. Why I am presenting this? Because solvent extraction is not only useful to extract, but that will fulfill the requirement, that will pass the objective. Our objective is to determine this compound. So what is the amount of the compound is present here? Not only by extraction, but also we can utilize this ion association complex for measuring the absorbance. That's what I am presenting this. And this slide will be clearly giving you very simple classification of ion association complexes. So I have already presented each example for each one of these different kinds of ion association complexes. So ion association complexes are mainly classified into three groups: non-chelated complexes, chelated complexes, and oxonium systems. In the non-chelated ion association complexes, bulky cations and anions are extracted as pairs of ionic aggregates. So ionic aggregates will combine together between bulky cations and anions, and their aqueous solubility will be declined once they form ionic aggregate. Therefore, their solubility in the organic layer will be increased, such as tetraphenyl arsonium cation can be reacted with permanganate, and that can be extracted into the organic layer. That is a very good example for non-chelated ion association complex. In the chelated ion association complexes, the ion association complex will be in the chelated form. It will be either positively or negatively charged. And you assume any metal chelate, because chelates are possible majorly in case of metals. When metal is treated with the suitable ligand, chelates are going to be formed. So those chelates may be charged. Those chelates may be charged. So after treating with a suitable reagent in order to neutralize the charge on the chelate, we can convert them into chelated ion association complexes. So they can be easily extracted into the organic phase. So metal chelates, cationic and anionic chelates, both cationic and anionic chelates, when they are treated with a suitable reagent which is having counter charge, a chelated ion association complex will be obtained, and that could be extractable into the organic phase. And in these oxonium systems, metals which form anionic complexes in strong acid medium, they can be extracted as ion phase into oxygenated solvents such as ether, methyl isobutyl ketone, acetates, etc. So when you treat the metals with oxygenated solvents in the presence of higher concentration of the acid, salvation takes place by protonation process, and therefore the formation of ion association complex is possible. So non-chelated complexes. So let us take one by one some examples and how the extraction medium we will utilize in the extraction of ion association complexes. In that first, let me take non-chelated complexes. In non-chelated complexes, as we understood, bulky cations and anions are extracted as pairs or aggregates without further coordination by solvent molecules. So solvent is not going to contribute anything to the cation or anion. Its role is to be present as a solvent in order to extract the non-chelated ion association complex. As I presented in my previous slide here, tetraphenyl arsonium chloride can be treated with permanganate, similarly perrhenate. So ion association complex of tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate or tetraphenyl arsonium perrhenate, this is going to be the ion pair. And I have mentioned in red color, this is the reagent and this is going to be the analyte. If you wanted to determine the concentration of manganese or concentration of rhenium, you can convert manganese and rhenium present in the sample into permanganate and you can extract that into tetraphenyl arsonium chloride in order to obtain tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate or tetraphenyl arsonium perrhenate. ReO4 minus is perrhenate. So tetraphenyl arsonium chloride will be the reagent and permanganate or perrhenate will be the analyte. We are intended to extract this permanganate or perrhenate. We can extract them into the organic phase. And here the reagent is positively charged and the solute will be negatively charged. So ionic aggregate of positively charged reagent and negatively charged analyte is formed here. Some other ion association complexes are formed by the reaction between positively charged analytes and negatively charged reagents. Here is the example for such class. Tetrabutyl ammonium chloride, if you take tetrabutyl ammonium chloride, gallium tetrachloride anion, gallium tetrachlorogallium 3, tetrachlorogallium 3 is anionic in nature because there are 4 chlorides have been coordinated to gallium. Gallium has the valency of +3, therefore one excess charge with respect to chloride is present as -1. So tetrachlorogallium minus 1 is the species which is negatively charged, and we need a positively charged reagent, that is tetrabutyl ammonium chloride. Tetrabutyl ammonium chloride will be the reagent. When you create an interface for the reaction between these two species, tetrabutyl ammonium tetrachlorogallium ion association complex will be obtained. Tetrabutyl ammonium gallium tetrachloride will be the ion association complex. This is aqueous insoluble but organic soluble. Aqueous insoluble and organic soluble. Similarly, many other analytes which are possessing negative charge such as tetrachlorozinc 2, hexacyanocobalt 3, tetracyanonickel 2, copper complexes of water, copper complexes of cyanide, ammonia, ammonia complexes of zinc, even chromium complexes. Like this, many metal chelates, non-chelated species can be treated with such positively charged and negatively charged reagents. This is going to be the positively charged reagent. Here, permanganate is used as an analyte. Tetraphenyl arsonium permanganate has been used. Tetrabutyl ammonium chloride, a simple anion exchange takes place. Chloride is replaced by tetrachlorogallium. So tetrabutyl ammonium ion will react with tetrabutyl ammonium gallium tetrachloride, right? So anionic metal complexes with tetraalkyl ammonium salts are also seen under ion association complexes. So gallium tetrachloride is the analyte, tetrabutyl ammonium ion is the extracting agent. It is the extracting agent. So extracting agent is tetrabutyl ammonium ion and tetrachlorogallium is the analyte. Similarly, in place of tetrachlorogallium, you can take tetrachlorozinc, hexacyanocobalt, etc., and you can pursue the extraction. So what are the other reagents we will use apart from tetraphenyl arsonium cation or tetrabutyl ammonium ions? Certain long chain alkyl ammonium salts are also used, mainly aliquate 336S. Aliquate 336S is the trivial name and its IUPAC name, a systematic name will be tri-N-capital methyl ammonium chloride. Tri-N-octyl methyl ammonium chloride is also the synonym for this aliquate 336S. So tris N-octyl methyl ammonium chloride, this is the molecular formula. Tris N-octyl methyl ammonium chloride will be the reagent you can use, and this is going to be the liquid. And even in contrast to this, triisooctyl amine hydrochloride, TiOA, triisooctyl amine hydrochloride. So CS3 twice CH, CS2 5 times thrice NH plus Cl minus. This is the molecular formula of this triisooctyl amine hydrochloride. So these are liquids. The reagents, their physical state is liquid. They are liquids in nature. They have anions, chloride. So this chloride will be replaced by the anionic analyte. So when you treat this reagent with the solute which is present in the anionic state, this chloride will be replaced by the anionic analyte. Therefore, these are called as liquid anion exchanges. So the anion of these liquids will be exchanged by some other anion in order to form an ion association complex. Therefore, these reagents are used as liquid anion exchanges. These reagents are used especially for the extraction of uranium sulfate or plutonium. More relevantly, triisooctyl amine hydrochloride, when you use xylene or methyl isobutyl ketone solvent will be used. And this is the general reaction takes place in the extraction of uranium sulfate or plutonium. So UO2, uranyl sulfate, if you take, this is having 2 minus charge and we need 2 positive charge, triisooctyl amine hydrochloride. This has hydrogen ion as a positively charged species. Chloride will be the negatively charged species. Chloride is replaced by this sulfate of uranyl sulfate. So triisooctyl amine uranium sulfate is going to be the ion association complex produced here. And this is extractable into either xylene or benzene or methyl isobutyl ketone. And the other product will be S2SO4. And this S2SO4 will be remained in the aqueous phase. Similarly, plutonium can also be extracted. Therefore, this is only one example I am presenting here, but other than this, separation of uranium or plutonium from thorium, alkalis, alkaline earths, rare earths, zirconium, niobium, and ruthenium. So uranium or plutonium can be separated from thorium, alkalis, alkaline earths, rare earths, zirconium, niobium, and ruthenium. So that's what this TiOA, triisooctyl amine hydrochloride, is a selective reagent for the extraction of uranium or plutonium more easily and more relevantly. So here triisooctyl amine is a reagent which will produce positively charged species for the extraction of uranium which is present in the anionic state. So this is going to be the ion association complex formed. Even apart from these two, other two reagents are also used. They are tri-N-butyl phosphate, C4H9O thrice P double bond O. This is denoted by TBP. And tri-N-acetyl phosphine oxide topo, tri-N-acetyl phosphine oxide topo, C8H17 thrice P double bond O. If you look at the structure of this, tri-N-butyl phosphate, this is in the form of P double bond O, P single bond O R thrice, P single bond O R thrice. So these reagents are used in order to extract the metals and mineral acids by direct solvation. They themselves will be acting as solvents here. The metal, whatever you use to extract, it will undergo solvation when you treat them with these particular solvents. So these are used to extract uranium, actinides, and lanthanides. Even many other metals can also be extracted by using this tri-N-butyl phosphate or tri-N-acetyl phosphine oxide. I will show you the structure in the forthcoming slide. So I have presented one simple example here, extraction of uranium species and different acidities. So if you use lower concentration of nitric acid, what is the form of ion association complex? And at higher concentration of nitric acid, what is the form of ion association complex? Here, if you use lower concentration of nitric acid, UO2 2 plus TBP twice 2NO3 minus will be the ion association complex. Here, uranium will be solvated with TBP. Direct solvation of uranium ion takes place. Direct solvation of uranium-6 will be taking place here. The oxidation state of uranium here is 6. So solvation of uranium takes place and the counter ion will be nitrate. because UO2 plus is having 2 plus charge, we need 2 minus charge. Therefore, those 2 minus charge will be supplied by the nitrate group. So uranium can be extracted into TBP in the presence of nitric acid. If the nitric acid concentration is low, this is going to be the ion association complex. If you maintain the concentration of nitric acid in a very high amount, this is going to be the ion association complex, because the concentration of nitric acid is more, one hydrogen ion will also contribute, because 3 nitrates have been contributed from the nitric acid. Here the charge on uranium is 2 plus, the residual charge will be 2 plus in UO2 2 plus. Therefore, only 2 nitrates are sufficient to neutralize the charge on UO2 2 plus. But 1 nitrate will be present in excess, that will be compensated by 1 hydrogen ion. Therefore, H plus TBP twice, UO2 NO3 minus thrice will be the ion association complex. So, uranium or plutonium or actinides or lanthanides can be extracted in acidic medium by using this TBP and topo in a more relevant manner. So other examples apart from this, I can take under the extraction of non-chelated ion association complexes. Apart from tetraphenyl arsonium salts and tetraalkyl ammonium salts, even we can use rhodamine BH plus along with aliquid 336S triisooctylamine. This rhodamine BH plus can be used to extract SpCl6 minus, tetrachlorogallium, tetrachlorogold, tetrachlorozinc, tetrachloroiron, halide, sulfate, and nitrate complexes of uranium 6, cobalt, iron 3, molybdenum 6, titanium 3, zinc, etc. Many metals can be subjected for extraction, and even perrhenate, permanganate, and chlorocyanothiocyanate complexes of bismuth, gallium, zinc, iridium, cadmium, and cobalt can also be extracted by using these positively charged tetraphenyl arsonium and tetraalkyl ammonium salts. And even TBP and topo are two simple reagents, two commonly used reagents for the extraction of uranium 6, plutonium 4, thorium 4, scandium, yttrium, niobium, molybdenum, antimony, actinides, lanthanides, and other mineral acids. So these are some examples in which we will treat the analyte with the suitable reagents. These are reagents. In case of this TBP and topo, direct solvation of the metals takes place. So extraction is possible. Here we will use a suitable organic solvent in order to extract any of these metals or any of these analytes if they are present in the sample system. And these are the selective reagents we will be using: tetraphenyl arsonium salts, tetraalkyl ammonium salts, rhodamine BH plus, aliquid 336S. This is a liquid anion exchanger. Triisooctylamine is also a liquid anion exchanger, TBP and topo. So these are the typical reagents we can use for the extraction of these species. Let us move on to the second category of ion association complexes. They are chelated complexes. So you know the definition for these chelated complexes. So many cationic and anionic chelates which are not extractable due to the charge. They are positively or negatively charged. If you consider any metal chelate, electrical neutrality should be attained in order to extract that into the organic phase. If it is charged, the extraction is impossible. Therefore, we have to convert that into an electrically neutral species by charge neutralization process in order to convert that into an ionic aggregate. So a suitable counter ion is required. So such metal chelates can be treated with a suitable counter reagent in order to convert that into electrically neutral ionic aggregate. Highly stable ion association complex will be formed and that can be extracted. So let me consider a very simple example as I have presented in many of my slides in different modules. Iron 2 110 phenanthal in complex structure. This is the structure of ferrine. Iron 2 1 mole and 3 moles of 110 phenanthal reacts together, and a complex of ferrine is going to be formed. And ferrine is divalent in nature. It is carrying 2 plus charge. So we have to neutralize this 2 plus charge before its extraction into the organic layer. So let us plan the extraction of this iron 2 in the form of iron 2 110 phenanthroline metal chelate by treating with a suitable counter reagent, and counter reagent is going to be perchlorate anion. And if you extract this ferrine with perchlorate anion into chloroform, this is going to be the ion association complex. So ion pair of ferrine perchlorate iron 2 110 phenanthroline perchlorate ion association complex, it is extractable into chloroform. So these type of ion association complexes are called as chelated ion association complexes. So previous class was non-chelated ion association complexes because they were not carrying any chelates, any rings in the structure of ion association complex. But these are known as chelated ion association complex because they have ring-like structure in this molecule. Similarly, the extraction of uranium-6 with 8-hydroxyquinoline is also possible by using tetraalkyl ammonium cation as the counter ion. Say this is UO2 8-hydroxyquinoline complex, uranium-6 8-hydroxyquinoline complex. This is so uranyl 8-hydroxyquinoline complex. Of course, this is a metal chelate. Uranium is the metal, and 8-hydroxyquinoline has been coordinated with this UO2 2 plus. UO2 2 plus. Uranium is in +6 oxidation state. This is not electrically neutral. This is not electrically neutral because there is one excess negative charge. So in 8-hydroxyquinolinate anion, 3 moles of 8-hydroxyquinoline is required to form a stable uranyl 8-hydroxyquinoline complex, but 2 hydroxy groups from 2 8-hydroxyquinoline and 2 nitrogens and other 8-hydroxyquinoline will contribute coordination only from nitrogen, not from hydroxyl group. Reason may be different. I don't bother about that reason because in order to form a stable complex, octet rule must be satisfied. And once the complex attains the stability, there is no more coordination possible. That is the reason here. So O minus is the species which is left over and which is carrying the negative charge. And this is aqueous soluble, but if we wanted to extract this into the organic phase, we have to neutralize this negative charge. How to do this? Because this is monovalent, monoanionic in state. So we need a cationic species which is having only one positive charge. So tetrabutyl ammonium chloride will be the selective reagent. Tetrabutyl ammonium chloride you add to the aqueous solution containing uranium-6 8-hydroxyquinoline complex. You extract. So uranium-6 8-hydroxyquinoline complex will be reacting with tetrabutyl ammonium chloride to form an ion association complex. So very simple extraction is possible into chloroform or carbon tetrachloride. You can extract this. More polar solvent if you use, the extraction efficiency will be more. Apart from chloroform or carbon tetrachloride is non-polar. Chloroform is somewhat polar than carbon tetrachloride. So if you use somewhat polar solvents, the extractability of this ion association complex for the extraction of the uranium-6 8-hydroxyquinoline will become more efficient. So this is another example for showing chelated ion association complex. Here metal chelate is metal 8-hydroxyquinoline complex and the reagent is tetrabutyl ammonium chloride. When you extract that into the organic layer, chelated ion association complex of uranium-6 8-hydroxyquinoline tetrabutyl ammonium ion association complex. And even metal complexes of EDTA are also very, very useful to get extracted into the organic phase. Okay, here the reagent will be used is aliquate 336S. Aliquate 336S is a liquid anion exchanger. EDTA metal complexes, particularly trivalent metal EDTA complexes, are also anionic in nature. So let me see this. Let me explain this. Let you take EDTA. When you raise the pH of aqueous solution having EDTA beyond 8 or 9, EDTA will be converted into tetraanionic form. All the carboxylic acids, there are 4 carboxylic acids present in EDTA that will undergo dissociation to get converted into tetraanionic form. So carboxylic acids will be converted into carboxylate anions. That is written in the form of tetraanion, that is Y4 minus. So you take, provided the pH is controlled carefully, trivalent metals will react with the tetraanionic form of EDTA to form metal EDTA complex. So metal EDTA complex will be carrying one minus charge here. My minus means it is monoanionic. Say for example, aluminum, if you react with EDTA at pH 7, because pH 7 is the specific pH for complexing aluminum with EDTA. So aluminum can be treated with EDTA. Aluminum EDTA complex is produced, and this is aqueous soluble. Aluminum EDTA complex is aqueous soluble. Even pH 4.5 can also be maintained for forming aluminum EDTA complex. So this is negatively charged. This is negatively charged. So you take a liquid 336S, this is a liquid and this is a anion exchanger. The anion of this liquid 336S is chloride, that is chloride. So in place of chloride of this liquid 336S, the anion of metal EDTA complex will be placed. So anion plus cation, you will get ionic aggregate, cation and anion. So this is metal EDTA complex. This is from liquid 336S, tri-N-capryl methyl ammonium chloride. Tri-N-capryl methyl ammonium chloride. Chloride will be the exchanger here. Chloride is exchanged by metal EDTA complex. Metal EDTA complex is anionic in nature, that is substituted in place of chloride. So very simple to understand here. So like this, these trivalent metal EDTA complexes, and the metals are aluminum, cobalt, cadmium, nickel, thallium, iron, chromium, strontium, arsenic, etc. So these type of reactions are easily employed in order to convert trivalent metal EDTA complexes into ion association complexes by treating with a liquid 336S, that is tri-N-octyl methyl ammonium chloride, where chloride will be exchanged by the trivalent metal EDTA complex because it is monovalent in nature. So not only this, but also the mixtures of lanthanides can also be separated by using their different stability constants. So EDTA stability, EDTA will be a selective reagent to react with many metals, and they are possessing different formation constants. Whichever the species is more stable in the aqueous layer, that can be separated from the species which is less stable. So whichever the species it is more stable at one particular pH, you can convert that into metal EDTA complex in order to convert that into anionic state, and you can make to react with the liquid 336S, and we can extract that. Therefore, separation is quite possible here by using this liquid anion exchanger. And apart from that, even dibutyl phosphoric acid and di2-ethyl hexyl phosphoric acids are also very important reagents, and these are also liquids, but they are cation exchangers. So in contrast to liquid 336S and TIOA, triisooctylamine, they were liquids and they were anion exchangers. But these are cation exchanges. If you look at the structure here, dibutyl phosphoric acid, the OH group undergo ionization to get converted into O minus and H plus, and here di2-ethyl hexyl phosphoric acid, di2-ethyl hexyl phosphoric acid, here also OH group undergo ionization. When it is made to interact with the aqueous medium, this will undergo ionization to get converted to O minus and H plus, here also O minus and H plus. So therefore, cation of the species from the sample will be exchanged in place of hydrogen ion. So therefore, cation exchange process is possible and electrical neutrality will be attained. Therefore, we can extract that in the form of ion association complex. So these complexes are extractable when a metal which is having charge will be exchanged in place of this hydrogen ion of this HDBP or HDEHP. A suitable ion association complex will be obtained and that can be extracted. Say for example, lanthanides, lanthanum ion, if you treat with DBP or HDBP medium, So you will be expecting the formation of ion association complex between lanthanum, DBP and HDBP. You can see here, you take lanthanum ion, which is trivalent in state. If you treat with 6 moles of HDBP, 6 moles of HDBP, so coordination takes place from HDBP to form this complex La3 plus. La3 plus will be the central metal ion, and DBP and HDBP will be involved in the solvation process, in the coordination process, in order to neutralize this trivalent charge of lanthanum. Therefore, ion association complex of lanthanum, DBP, HDBP will be possible. So dibutyl phosphoric acid, di-2-ethyl hexyl phosphoric acid, any reagent you can use here. So this is an ion association complex structure, and this is extractable into either benzene or toluene, xylene, or 1,3-diisopropyl benzene. So you take the aqueous sample solution having a lanthanum ion, you treat with the excess of HDBP, and you extract by using either toluene or xylene or etc. The ion association complex in this form will be extracted into the organic solvent. Therefore, this HDBP or HDEBP are also two important reagents for the extraction of cations. Where cation exchange process is possible, the cation of the reagent will be exchanged by the cation of the sample. Therefore, ion association complex is formed by the coordination, by the contribution by this reagent, and hence the ion association complex can be extracted. So this is also in the form of chelated one. Lanthanum ion is present as a central metal ion, and the chelate, the ring system has been formed. The molecular cage is having a ring-like structure. Therefore, this is also one of the important examples for showing chelated ion association complex. So in this way, metals such as trivalent actinides are the most readily extracted by using this HDBP reagent, trivalent actinides. And not only these trivalent actinides can be extracted, but also the separation of actinides such as AM3, CM3 from lanthanum 3 can be easily done. This americium or cementium can be easily separated by lanthanum 3 by using this particular chemical reaction followed by the extraction process. And apart from them, such other examples are, say, biquinolyl can also be used in the chloride form as a reagent for the extraction of copper 1. So extraction of ferrine using perchlorate I have explained, for determination of iron 2, for the extraction of iron 2, and even copper 1 can be extracted by using biquinolyl in the form of chloride. And similarly, trivalent metal EDTA complexes can be used to extract many metals. Oxime means 8-hydroxyquinoline, and even tetraalkyl ammonium salts can also be used to extract uranium 6. And of course, acidic alkyl phosphoric esters such as HDBP, HDEHP are also used to extract high valent metals such as actinides, uranium 6, plutonium 6, etc. So these are the examples of metals which can be subjected to extract by using these reagents, and where an ion association complex is going to be formed between a metal chelate and a reagent. And if you wanted to extract iron 2, you can take in the aqueous phase iron 2 sample from the sample, perchloric acid or potassium perchlorate and 1,10-phenolphthalein. If you extract with a suitable organic solvent, you will get a chelated ion association complex which could be extractable into the organic phase. So this will be the demonstration I can give you. Similarly, other systems. And let us move on to the next type of ion association complex, that is oxonium systems. So oxonium systems will be formed whenever we are going to deal with oxygen containing solvents, because they have got strong coordinating ability. So oxygen containing solvents, mainly diethyl ether, methyl isobutyl ketone, or isoamyl acetate, isoamyl alcohol can also be used. So because they are containing oxygen, their coordinating ability with water or acid or any metal will become very easy, very easily the coordination possible. So when you use such solvents, diethyl ether, methyl isobutyl ketone, or isoamyl acetate, they tend to form oxonium cations in the presence of a strong acidic condition. the oxonium cation structure will be presented here, R2O. If you assume R2 is any alkyl group, this is going to be the ether. So n number of ether is treated with strongly acidic medium, the oxonium system is going to be formed. And this will be solvated in the presence of aqueous medium and the metal anion. And the metal anion will be the counter ion. This will be the positive charge species. And this positively charged species will react with the counter ion, which is negatively charged species from the right. You will get ion association complex. And that's what these ion association complexes are put under oxonium systems. So many metal anionic complexes, when you treat them with organic solvents such as diethyl ether or methyl isobutyl ketone, and when you maintain strong acidic medium to the solution system, you will be expecting ion association complex. Say, for example, if you wanted to extract iron 3, you take it in the aqueous medium in the acidic level, say 7 molar hydrochloric acid, you may have to introduce to the aqueous phase. So that can be extracted into diethyl ether layer very selectively. So iron 3, when it is treated with hydrochloric acid, tetrachloro iron 3 will be the species. Tetrachloro iron 3 complex will be obtained. This is negatively charged. And diethyl ether you are using as a solvent. When you use diethyl ether as a solvent, organic solvent, you will transfer that into the separating funnel. So separating funnel is containing FeCl4 minus and hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid will be solvated with the diethyl ether, and water will also coordinate definitely. So here the ion association complex between the oxonium cation has been formed between diethyl ether and the acid, which has been solvated in water. Water will also coordinate, and tetrachloro iron 3 will be the anion, and the ion association complex is going to be formed between oxonium cation of hydrochloric acid and diethyl ether and the anionic tetrachloro iron 3. This is from the sample. If sample is containing iron, you treat the sample with the excess of hydrochloric acid to convert that into anionic species, and later we extract this anionic species into ether by adding ether into the aqueous sample solution, which is strongly acidic. So these type of systems are known as oxonium systems. So some factors we need to consider while we do extraction under oxonium systems. First one is the coordinating ability of the solvent, which is very, very important. Whatever the solvent you are going to use, that must coordinate with the metal anion very easily. Otherwise, if the coordinating ability of the solvent is very poor, the formation of ionic aggregate between oxonium cation and negatively charged metal complex will not be possible. Therefore, coordinating ability is very, very important. And as I mentioned in the previous slide, 7 molar hydrochloric acid has been maintained in the extraction of iron 3. Therefore, acidity is very important in order to convert the oxygenated solvents such as ether or methyl isobutyl ketone into oxonium cations. Acidity must be regulated to the better extent. Therefore, acidity is the other factor. So if you consider the group of solvents among ketones, alcohols, ethers, and esters, the coordinating ability for ketones will be more than esters, than alcohols, than ethers. So ketones will be coming at first, maybe due to polarity. So ketones will be having more selectivity for consideration when we wanted to extract any metals after converting them by treating with oxonium systems into ion association complex. Therefore, ketones will be coming at the top, then esters, then alcohols, then ethers. So if you have a ketone, methyl isobutyl ketone, you prefer that. If you have ethyl acetate, you prefer that. If you have isoamyl alcohol, you can use. If you have diethyl ether, you can use. Okay, so coordinating ability is written in this particular order. And when you go to the species to be extracted, you take any metal, the selectivity of extraction will be increased. That is based on what is the coordinating anion, or what is the coordinating anion which is more electronegative, which is combined with the metal. It is very important. You take a series of complexes. the selectivity of the extraction for complexes which are in fluoroform will be very, very high, because their coordinating ability with the solvent what we are taking will be more. Therefore, fluoro complexes can be extracted with more selectivity than bromo complexes, than iodo complexes, similarly chloro and thiocyanate complexes. So therefore, the selectivity is based on complexing ion 2, with which is the complexing ion, either the thiocyanate or chloride or iodide or bromide or fluoride. When you take FeF4 minus and FeCl4 minus, among these two, FeF4 minus will be extracted by using oxonium cation of diethyl ether with more selectivity when compared to FeCl4 minus. Similarly, FeBr4 minus, FeI4 minus, and iron thiocyanate complex. When you have the group of molecules of iron thiocyanate and tetrachloroiron will be extracted with the more selectivity than iron thiocyanate complex. Therefore, the coordinating ability of the solvent, the acidity, and the complexing ion which is present in the metal complex is also very important in order to express the selectivity here. So let me demonstrate, because as I told you, acidity is very important. As the acid concentration is increased, how the extraction efficiency is going to be enhanced for chlorocomplexes of metals. I have taken different metals here in this particular table. Here, this table reflecting the results of effect of hydrochloric acid concentration on the extraction efficiency while extracting gold, iron, thallium, antimony, arsenic, and gallium. So if you use 0.3 molar hydrochloric acid, what is the extraction efficiency? Similarly, for 1.4 molar, 2.9 molar, 4.4 molar, and 6 molar. The first row after percent extraction indicating the concentration of hydrochloric acid to be maintained. If you use 0.3 molar hydrochloric acid, gold will be extracted to only 84%. If you use 1.4 molar, it is 98% extracted. At 2.9 molar, 98%, 4.4 molar, 97%, and at 6 molar, 95%. So as the acidity is increased, we can also expect there is variation in the extraction efficiency. If you see here, thallium-3, 98% will be extracted at 1.4%, 1.4 molar acid, but 99% can be achieved when you maintain 4.4 molar hydrochloric acid concentration. If you look at gallium, similarly, I have presented other metals. So let me come to gallium. So 97% can be extracted at 6 molar hydrochloric acid, but at the concentration of hydrochloric acids lower than 6 molar, we cannot expect any extraction. Only insignificant percent extraction can be seen. So these are the metals: gold, iron, thallium, antimony, arsenic, gallium. These are the metals can be extracted. So under oxonium systems, the extraction efficiency is dependent on the acidity of the aqueous layer what we are going to maintain. So these are the metals which cannot extract after converting them into oxonium system. There are aluminum, beryllium, bismuth, cadmium, chromium, cobalt, iron 2, lead, manganese, nickel, palladium, osmium, platinum, rare earths, silver, titanium, thorium, tungsten, uranium, and zirconium. These metals cannot be subjected to treat with oxonium cations for their extraction into the organic phase. So therefore, this is about the oxonium systems we can use for the extraction of metal complexes. Metal complexes will be present in the anionic form, and oxonium systems will be in the cationic form. And the ionic aggregation of oxonium cations and anionic metal complexes will be taken place to form an ion association complex, and they can be easily extracted. All right. So let us compare the overall advantages of these non-chelated, chelated, and oxonium systems. These oxonium systems and other non-chelated complexes, so when you look at the features, more solubility in organic phase can be expected. These non-chelated ion association complexes and ion association complexes formed by the contribution of oxonium cations, they are more soluble in the organic phase. They are more soluble in the organic phase. So we can go for the determination of such metals or determination of such analytes whenever their quantity is more. Whenever their quantity is more. If you go to metal chelates, they have limited solubility. They have limited solubility. Metal chelates will have limited solubility. Therefore, whenever the metal is present in lower quantity in the sample, we can use this for trace level work. Metal can be subjected for extraction after converting that into metal chelate. Metal chelates will be highly colored. So you can use spectrophotometric method. Spectrophotometric methods will be highly sensitive, and these sensitive reactions can be utilized followed by the extraction process. Therefore, trace level work we can take up. So these are the advantages. So non-trace level work, you can prefer the formation of ion association complexes by the principle of non-chelated complexes and the counter reagent and the oxonium cations and the analytical counter reagents. So this is how the ion association complexes can be extracted. So in this particular session, we have discussed about the meaning of ion association complex and the classification of ion association complexes with the more relevant examples, and how to extract each and every type of ion association complex with the suitable counter reagent we have discussed. I hope this session is quite useful for your understanding. Thank you very much.